Taking a Spanish, French, or any second language class can be a whole different ballgame compared to regular Common Core classes, so the way you take notes for these classes should also be adapted for that specific course. In today's video, I'll share how I took notes for my Spanish class and made them useful information sheets for studying. Let me know in the comments what language you're currently studying, and before we get started, be sure to subscribe down below and hit that like button. I make weekly videos about tips for students, life as a med student in Hong Kong, and my other random interests. Firstly, these information sheets are the most basic type of notes you take for language classes, and since they make up the foundation of your learning, they need to be good, simple, and easy. Most of you may already be making these notes. These notes have odd information about that one type of verb tense or the uses of a specific phrase. For example, in Spanish, this would mean topics like how to use subjunctive in a perfect tense, or the uses of por and para. When making these notes, have a clear header or title at the top of the page, and make sure everything that goes on that page is relevant to the title in order to stay organized. I mainly make notes in this style when I'm learning about new verb tenses. For instance, say I'm learning about how to use preterite, which is past tense for Spanish. Label the sections under the main header using letters or Roman numerals. I personally prefer using Roman numerals. For my notes on preterite, the first section of my notes is going to be about the regular endings for AR, ER, and IR verbs. Within the section, I made a table with the conjugations to have a better organization, and I used an example verb for each type of verb conjugated for the different subjects. For instance, for AR, I used hablar, ER, I used beber, and IR, I used abrir. So using these examples gives me an idea of how the verbs will actually be conjugated in the sentence, instead of simply just listing out the endings. I also wrote the endings in a different color, and organizing the information in a table makes it all easier to find the information when studying. Be sure to include notes or any extra information off to the side or simply under the table of conjugations in order to clarify. For my notes about the preterite, I'm also making another section to note down the exceptions to the rule for this specific topic. For Spanish, there's almost always some form of exception 99.9% of the time. There's going to be stem changes and spelling changes for preterite, so this will be my new subheading for this section. Under this subheading, I'll include notes on when these exceptions will be used, and I create another table to show the different sets of conjugations. You can also write down more notes under this heading and include extra notes off to the side in a box. I use a separate color to emphasize important information, and I usually prefer to only use one color, usually a red or an orange, when making notes. This will mark things that are important or need to be emphasized, and make sure to not overuse it or else it will defeat its purpose. You can circle, underline, bracket, or write it in that color for more variety. At the end of my notes, I also make sure to include a few examples. This is especially important for tenses or other grammar rules where using it really depends on the larger context of the sentence. For instance, in Spanish, the use of preterite versus imperfect will depend on the sentence. I hope you found this video helpful, and let me know down in the comments what future videos you want to see. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this. I make weekly videos about tips for students and other random topics. Thanks for watching!